Prof. Yunus Chengel is Professor Emeritus at the University of Nevada, Reno, USA, and the founding Dean of the Faculty of Engineering at Adnan Menderes. Is it right, Prof?
Yes.
Adnan Menderes University in Aydin, Turkey. He received his Ph.D. in Mechanical Engineering from North Carolina State University in USA. And before joining Adnan Menderes University in 2012, he held the position of the Dean of the Faculty of Mechanical Engineering at Yildiz Technical University, YTU, and as advisor to President at Scientific and Technological Research Council, TUBITAK. On international cooperations. Prof. Chengel also served as the Assistant Director and Director of the Industrial Assessment Center at UNR for 8 years. He also served as the advisor to several government organizations and private companies on energy efficiency, energy policies, and education reform. And Professor Chengel is the author or co-author of the widely adapted textbooks such as Thermodynamics and Engineering Approach, Fundamentals of Thermal Fluid Sciences, Heat and Mass Transfer, Fundamentals and Application, Fluid Mechanics, Fundamentals and Application, Differential Equations for Scientists and Engineers, and some other publications. Some of his textbooks have been translated into Chinese, Japanese, Korean, Thai, Spanish, Portuguese, Turkish, Italian, Greek, and French. Oh, okay. Yeah, and Dr. Chengel also has delivered several keynote and invited lectures at technical conferences and academic institutions. He is the recipient of several outstanding teacher awards, and he has received the ASEE Miriam or Wiley Distinguished Order Award for excellence in authorship twice. Yeah. This is such a really great experience, Prof, and it is really a great honor to have you in our conference. So in this conference, you have about 30 minutes to present your presentation, and the rest will be for other speakers. Okay, Prof. Yunus Chengel, time is yours.
Okay, thank you very much for the introduction, and I hope you can see the PowerPoint presentation on the screen.
Yes, it's clear, Prof.
Okay, first of all, I would like to thank the organizers for this kind invitation, and it is a pleasure to be part of at the UIN Sharif Hidayatullah State Islamic University. And I would like also to thank Rector Amany Lubis for hosting this conference here. And also my colleagues that we will be doing this together, Etin, Anwar, and also Reza. Hopefully, we will look at things from different perspectives, and hopefully we will try to draw a picture of the reality. Now, what I will do today is simply trying to place science, technology, and religion into where they should be, because there is a lot of confusion and a lot of, I think, discussions and disputes on that. And unless we do it properly, we cannot really progress. And the keyword I would like to use in doing that is justice. Please keep in mind that I am a scientist and engineer, so I look at things from my perspective. but other speakers will also give some different perspectives. Here we will try to find the rightful places of things for order, clarity, and concord. Because if things are placed in their just places, then there is content. Everyone is content with justice. But if they perceive disorderly things or injustice, then naturally they will reject. So let me first warm you up with some examples from real life on placing everything into their rightful places. For example, now an example from society. Let's say a wounded mass murderer is caught on a crime scene and it is being lynched by the enraged crowd, and you arrive at the scene. The question is, what would you do and what is the proper thing to do? And there are many possibilities. Or join the crowd and help lynch the accused mass murderer. Probably this is what we would do. Or apprehend the murderer and save him from the enraged crowd. Or treat the wounds of the accused murderer. Or feed and safeguard the murderer. Or defend the murderer against accusations. Or hang the murderer, whatever. Now, which one is the right thing? The answer is depends on who you are. That is what your position is. Therefore, just generalizing one answer is injustice. For example, if you are the policeman, obviously you cannot, just join the crowd and kill the person. Your job is to apprehend the accused murderer and then to protect it. That is not to harm. And if, let's say, the murderer is taken to a hospital, if you are a doctor, you wouldn't hit that person, you would treat the wounds, even though he may have killed several people there. And if, let's say, the person is in prison and you are the guard there, again, you will have to feed and protect, etc. And if you are the executioner, and if the judge decides that this person is sentenced to death justly, then you will kill the person. Everything is in their rightful places. If you mix them, then I think you will have a chaos there. And it is what we have usually when the topic is science and religion. Now, another example, similar, for example, let's say related to crime. Okay. There is, let's say, an accused person, accused of a murder. Now, what is the right thing to do? Again, investigator examines the evidences, goes to the crime site, does observations, and then the medical examiner examines the tissues, wounds of the, let's say, murdered person, whatever. And then the investigator, they write a report, okay? And that report has to be objective. And that report should not make any accusations. It should say that, okay, now this is what I see, and this indicates that, how it is murdered, the distance, if there is a bullet or whatever, without any accusations. As so, that person killed it or whatever. So it should be, the common ground. And this is what science does. Just gives you a common ground based on observations and based on facts, objective facts that everyone can agree on without, let's say, drawing any conclusions. And then the prosecutor and the attorney, they take this report, okay, as to what happened, how it happened. They draw their conclusions from that, and they base their defense or their case on this report. And judging from the same report, the prosecutor may say, see, this shows he is the murderer. The attorney will say, no, see, this shows he is not the murderer. And the judge, so this is like philosophy, you simply deal with things in the world of ideas. And then the judge listens to all the arguments and makes a decision. And that decision is judgment. And this is what people do. So these are the proper places of science, philosophy, philosophical arguments, and belief, disbelief. Okay. To give yet another example, let's say in newspapers or in media, if you are a reporter, you simply report. And if you are, let's say, an opinion writer, then you can interpret. Okay. But let's say you should not mix this. And if you are an advertiser, there's an advertisement, it should be, labeled clearly that this is not news or anything. This is advertisement. If you do this, again, there are no, I think, arguments there, because everything is clear, whether it is, fact-based news or opinion or advertisement there. If, let's say, you mix these, then the media will lose confidence. People will simply turn their face away from them. Now, if, let's say, look at the argument of Einstein, he says that this watch here, okay, the way that the hands move and the things that we see on the face, everyone agrees on that because we can see it. We all see the same thing. What is happening there, the relative speeds of the two moving arms, the sounds that we hear, the ticking, which we no longer hear, etc. Again, this is science. That is, we can sense them through the five senses. And there is a certainty in that, because it is not a one person there. But the mechanism which is sealed inside, if, let's say, you question as to how that happens, and it is sealed and it cannot be opened, okay, then the opinions will abound. Now, that is a philosophy. You are passing judgments about things that we cannot see, and it is natural that the disagreements will occur there. And a person, will hear many possible explanations and probably will choose one of them and will subscribe to one opinion, one explanation, which he or she finds most logical. And then what happens there is the person, let's say, believes that the invisible mechanism is that. But this is, again, things are in their rightful places. Now, to put science and technology into their rightful places, because sometimes they are also confused, keep in mind that there is only one science. And science is related to natural world, okay, what we see outside. There is nothing human-made involved. And science is discovered. And science is the constitution of the universe. Whereas technology involves human beings. If, let's say, there were no human beings, there would be no technology. But the science would still be there. And the technology is artificial. It is man-made. It is invented, not discovered. And it results in many different products. To give one example, let's say a natural leaf, okay? You hear about the photosynthesis there, that the sun rays, solar energy is converted to chemical energy and oxygen. If you discover how this process occurs in the leaves, as you study in biology, now this is science. You simply observe and kind of express what's happening. But if you build an artificial leaf, okay, if you build an artificial one that takes the solar energy in and converts it to chemical energy, which you can use in the car to drive your car, then you have an artificial leaf. Okay, and this is our technology. So technology is science plus human involvement with their ingenuity and creativity. And technology also results in many patents there. Now, why is science and technology so important? And it kind of, leads the discussion. Everyone is fascinated by science and technology. I think this graph really says it all. Now, this is the world GDP, okay, over the 2,000 years. If you look at, let's say, the years, let's say 0, 500, 1,000, 1,500, 16, 17, 1,800, look at the GDP, no change really. Why? Because we have agriculture, and eventually we had, some maybe minerals and metals from the ground. That's it. We did, just a few handmade things. What happened in the 1800s is discovery of the steam engine. That is, we started developing technology, and then we started discovering science, and then the science fed into the technology. And look at the result. During the last 200 years, look at the GDP of the world just skyrocket, okay? Going up vertically. Now, this is the reason that science and technology reigns today. And everybody takes science and technology seriously. It is I think, the source of progress, prestige, power, and wealth. And everyone is trying to invest in science and technology. Because if you do that, then you are always secondary. And people always look at this, the center of power here. Now, Said Nursi, which is a contemporary Islamic scholar in Turkey, as a visionary, he said in 1920s that in the future, the source of all power will be knowledge. That is, it will continue this trend here. And he said in one of his books, Sözler, that in the future, the mankind will turn to sciences and knowledge and will obtain all its power from sciences. Power and rule will then pass to the hands of sciences and knowledge. And it kind of, shows that if, let's say, you want to have a power, to have, let's say, prestige, wealth, whatever, then there is no other way other than having a say in sciences and knowledge. That is, instead of a consumer, you should be in the position of generator of science and knowledge. And in the US in 1945, one of the turning points, Bush, he wrote a report. The name is Science, the Endless Frontier. You see the report here. And he simply advised that the United States should invest heavily in science and technology, that the future is science. And they established the National Science Foundation, then started generous funding. The universities started to become science-based, etc. And you see the result. The United States is, I think, the leader in the science and technology, although other countries are, giving a good run to the US. And Nursi also emphasizes, even for religious things, the importance of material progress, which is based on science and technology. And he says, all believers are charged with upholding the word of God, ilahi kalimatullah. And at this time, the most effective means of doing this is material progress. For the Europeans are crushing us under their tyranny with the weapons of science and industry. We shall therefore wage jihad with the weapons of science and industry on ignorance, poverty, and conflict, the worst enemies of upholding the word of God. So this is his assessment, and this is his arm. The arm is simply science and technology. And the enemies are ignorance, poverty, and conflict. Again, leads us into, I think, really considering building things on science and technological platform and to invest in it. Therefore, Islam can best be upheld and promoted unless you do it, then you will not be taken seriously, which can be achieved via science and technology. Therefore, investment in science and technology is the best way to uphold and preserve belief and religion. If you don't do that, I think all the children, all the young people in this world of freedom will turn to where science and technology is and will listen to the messages that come from that direction there. Now, then what is this science? And maybe we should have a definition of it, and what is the domain of inquiry, and what is the output of science. Now, first of all, science deals with the physical realm. That is the things that we can sense with our five senses, and made of matter energy. Okay, the physical realm. So there are two kinds of realms. One is physical, the matter energy, and everything else. So the material world and the immaterial world, okay, the non-physical realm, or we call it like alem shahade, the visible realm, or alem al-ghaib, the invisible realm. Science is limited to visible realm. For example, the atoms, let's say the car we have, the trees that we see, ourselves, our bodies, brain, light, whatever. These are physical things, okay? They are made of atoms or energy, and this is the physical realm. And the inquirers, this inquiry in this realm is called simply science. And you see the result, this science, different branches, even the laws of physics, even mathematics, whatever. To summarize that, if let's say something has even one particle, like an electron, proton, or photon, that thing is physical. But if something does not involve any of these elementary particles in physics, then it is non-physical. So I think we should draw the line between physical existence and non-physical existence, I think, clearly, so that I think everything is properly placed there. And the formal definition, the American Physical Society organizing and condensing that knowledge into testable laws and theories. I think every scientist will agree with this general definition. And this is what science is. And everything else which doesn't fit into this definition, like ideologies, whatever, is not science. Okay? So this is science. And Syed says the same thing, that as a religious scholar, science is comprised of general laws and principles, kawaid külliye, as he calls it. And he says nature, or the laws of nature, is a great divine law, not a creator, just a law that arranges and governs the behavior of the elements and organs of the body of creation. That is called the visible realm. So if you compare this, you see that they are really very compatible. They are saying the same thing in different words. Therefore, again, to put things into their rightful places, science is really the rule book of the universe, or the handbook of you live something in a country, for example, you have to know the rules and the laws there. Otherwise, you will be in big trouble there, and you cannot be efficient. Therefore, since we are living in this world, we have to learn about the rules of this universe and exploit them. Okay. Therefore, we must acquire science to survive and succeed in this world. In fact, this is, if let's say you want to have a religious perspective, this is simply dua fi'li, okay, or supplication by action, because God has declared that if let's say you do this, this is what will happen, as discovered by science. So if let's say you want that effect, you must resort into that cause. These cause-effect relations there. If you just ignore the cause-effect relations, saying that, oh, Allah is capable of doing anything, so I just turn to Allah and wait for things to happen, obviously you are rejecting this constitution of the universe, which is placed on earth and declared to humanity as to these are the rules of operation of this world. So ignoring this is ignoring the decree of the creator there. And now how can we combine this with, let's say, our faith religion? Just change the name. Okay, the laws of nature or laws of physics. For example, Nursi simply calls them the regulation of God or customary acts of God or constitutional laws, divine laws, Sharia of creation. That is the same laws of nature or laws of physics. Okay, obviously they are not coming from the materials there. From the very beginning they are there. Obviously they are placed there. Okay, just like the matter energy. Okay, if let's say you look at them as the laws which are imposed by the creator, and these are like the customs of the creator. Okay, and this is the constitution placed on the creation, then the whole thing becomes a religious concept in your mind. Okay, and it doesn't make you any bad scientist. To their benefit, simply on the back of their mind, the laws of nature, I don't care, or they just exist. Whereas the other one will say these are placed with wisdom by a creator with purpose. Okay, just different viewpoint. Okay, then the science and religion and faith, they all are combined. Okay. And I'll also share this presentation so that you can read the details, but I'll have to go kind of fast on this. Now, keep in mind that science has no race, gender, nationality, or religion, okay? Because there is only one constitution in the universe. So science is, to summarize, it is a branch of knowledge based on observations of the physical realm, okay? It uses the scientific method based on experiment. Regularity or order in existence. If there were no regularity, okay, things were happening just randomly, different, different times, then there wouldn't be any science. Science confirms that in the whole universe, there is only one set of rules, one set of laws, which shows that the entire universe is created by one creator, one master. Okay, there are not two, because if there were two or more, there would be different rules there. So I think the sciences, in a sense, prove really, tawheed, that there is only one, because the rules, the laws, you can see them applying and governing everything. It is a constitution of the universe. And the domain of study of sciences is simply the physical universe. Objective of science is to discover how the visible universe works, this machinery of material world there, and to establish the cause-effect relations. And the method of inquiry, the scientific method, and scientific inquiry is really the continued process of acquiring knowledge, okay, in a systematic manner, and reducing it to general laws and principles which are open to verification and falsification. That is, science is like a child. Initially, it is imperfect. In time, it reaches perfection. Okay, so it is, just open. And the domain of validity is the entire universe. Okay, so it is the knowledge generated is universal as a result. And the general laws and principles, cause-effect relations, I can give you examples. They are the outcome. And the answers sought are the questions of what and how, okay? Not who and why, except like why they happen. Then you give the causes, okay? As what? The cause there. And here, again, the sciences is the result of the merging of ideas. Okay, they grow like a child. There is a continual progression in sciences. Said Nursi also points out that this knowledge, this inquiring of knowledge is what distinguishes human beings from other animals. He says, humanity has become worthy of the miracle of Adam, as signified by the verse, and he taught Adam the names of all, because of the thousands of sciences that emerge out of the intellectual collaboration of humanity in the context of discovering and expressing the names, qualities, and properties of all species that exist in the universe. Okay, and as the outcome of the sciences, also it is interesting that the physical laws and principles that we discover at the end, they are non-matter, they are immaterial. Therefore, the outcome of sciences is really something invisible. Okay, it is immaterial, and the properties of existence, they don't originate from the matter and energy. Okay, they simply exist there. So we have, a physical existence, matter and energy, and somehow a set of properties are imposed on that matter and energy. So the properties are non-physical; they are not made of matter and energy. And then, so this is the physical existence. And if you add the governing laws and forces of physics on top of it, what you have is a physical realm. Okay, so the physical realm is really the matter energy as the carcass here, perceived by the five senses, and then properties and qualities of material existence, they are emergent, and the laws and forces of nature. Only this part is a material. Therefore, all the physical things, in a sense, are a mixture of matter and meaning, just like the diamond you see here. Okay, the material diamond is made of, carbon, but another realm, the immaterial light. When the light, interacts and reflects off this material diamond, it is how we see the glitter of the diamond, which makes, a diamond really the valuable diamond there. And let's say, to give an example from the COVID right now, okay, this is an example of universal scientific inquiry. And right now, let's say we are discovering what this virus is and also developing technology to fight it. And during the last couple of days, we have seen some new vaccines, being developed there. And this is a universal undertaking, okay? And all the medical scientists in the world, they work together regardless of their worldviews and beliefs. And the solution that they will develop, like getting vaccines or cures, they will be universal. There will be no different vaccines like, Muslims, atheists, or whatever, okay? And the method of inquiry is just regular observations and experimentations, a lot of trial and error, evaluated by reason, logic, and inference there. And the findings are open to verification, falsification, improvement by others. So continual progression there, okay? And the subject of study is the virus, okay? The outcome is acquiring knowledge about the virus, describing its nature, predicting its behavior, and establishing the cause-effect relations there. And keep in mind also that the one who will do this, that is describe get to know the virus, and also develop, let's say, the vaccines and the cures, in this age of knowledge, will gain rightfully prestige, wealth, power, credibility, respect, influence, okay? Therefore, if, let's say, you want people to listen to you, pay attention to you, you will have to be part of these undertakings. Otherwise, I think the time will make you irrelevant there. Again, as I mentioned before, by solving people's problems with your action, you become, I think, important in their eyes, and you attract their attention. And once you do that, it also attracts attention to whatever values you have. For example, this is the husband and wife team, okay, that developed the first vaccine a few days ago. I'm sure you have seen this in the news. They are Turkish people living in Germany. So they established a German company there. And they are working with a US company, the famous Pfizer in pharmaceuticals company, okay? Now, first of all, by developing the first vaccine, which is 90% effective, they earned the respect and admiration of the entire humanity, okay? And this kind of, goes all the way. For example, they are immigrant. They earned respect for the immigrants in Germany, okay? And right now, let's say those, ultra-rightists will have a harder time to speak against immigrants, okay? And they are Muslims. Again, they really added prestige to Islam. And people, let's say, when they badmouth Islam, they'll have a harder time now, because the Muslims also can be leaders in science and technology, and also generate solutions for the entire humanity there. So these are the examples that we need. And collaboration. These people.
Yunus.
Yes.
Yunus, sorry to disturb. You have 4 more minutes to go.
Okay, I will try to wrap it up.
Really
okay, thank you very much. And this way, we also see the importance of international collaboration. US, major company Pfizer, and a smaller startup technology company in Germany, working together to generate, let's say, grand solutions of this kind. Okay, the rightful categorization of knowledge. Okay, science, you can categorize it as natural, social, and then physical life, okay? Or you can, let's say, look at the knowledge as science based on inquiry of physical realm, and knowledge, based on anything else, including mathematics, humanities, which includes, law, religion, arts, whatever. These all are, branches of knowledge. Only the realm of inquiry, they are different. So they really complete the whole together, okay? And this is like, an iceberg, the knowledge. Science deals with the visible part here. And all other branches of knowledge, they including art, law, humanities, they deal with the invisible part, but together they are part of the same whole. And there is an interface here. Okay, so let me just say that what, let's say, is needed is to bridge the science and also the religion. Said Nursi, for example, talks about, let's say, 2 books. One is the Holy Quran, okay, which is the Sharia of Islam that orders the voluntary acts of people. The other is the Grand Book of Universe. He calls it the Sharia of creation, okay, also referred to as laws of nature, which orders the acts of creation, okay? So they really should be viewed together as part of one whole. And Risale-i Nur simply tries to establish the bridge between the two, okay? And the way, let's say, Nursi does it is simply develop a new vantage point, a new, let's say, glasses. So when you look at creation with those glasses, you see what is beyond visible there. And you can turn the scientific knowledge into knowledge of God. That is, it shows you kind of what is the invisible hand, the attributes of that invisible hand, okay? So that you can combine them in your mind. So let me just finish with this table here, which summarizes. Now, question, can sciences and religion mix, okay? The answer is, in the mind, yes. That is, everyone has one reality in their mind, but in the kitchen, no, because their methodologies are different. they generate, different things there. It is like, can pizza and cake mix? In the stomach, yes, but in the kitchen, no. They have different recipes and different cooking styles there. So the domain of study for sciences, it is the visible physical universe. For religion, it is the invisible realm. Okay, the methodology for science is scientific method. For religion, like testimony, reason, logic, acceptance, rejection, whatever. And questions, the answer. Science is what and how. Religion, why, who, whatever, as relevant. And then, let's say, does it involve dogmas, bias, prejudice? Ideally, sciences do not, but religions, of course, or philosophies, ideologies. And accepting the existence of hidden active agent, deity behind the scenes. For science, it is irrelevant. That is, science is agnostic on that one. It is not, part of the study of science because deity is not physical. It is not within the inquiry of science. But of course, in religions, the answer is yes there. And let me just say to the end, is it universally acceptable to write books that combine science and religion? Can unified science and religion courses be offered at universities? The answer is yes, they can be done. But such books are no longer science books or courses. They are philosophy or humanity courses. If, let's say, you teach us science, okay, then it should be limited to science. But if, let's say, you want to teach science together with, let's say, religion, whatever, they are perfectly fine, but they shouldn't be called, science. They should be simply philosophy books, kind of characterizing them properly. So the sciences by themselves, okay, they don't give you meaning. But the mind, the philosophy, okay, these exist in the mind, okay, and you can, let's say, ascribe any meaning to them as the person there. And keep in mind that reality is not something scientific there, okay? So for deity, for example, it is not, the subject of science, so science cannot say anything, positive or negative, simply because deity is not physical. It is not within our domain of study. But we know that scientists say a lot of things. Scientists are human beings. They can say anything. But we should distinguish when something they say is science or their ideology. Okay, it is important. So let me finish with this. For example, I'm sure you have heard of Paul Davies, for example. He is a scientist, okay? And look at the books that he has written. The Original Life, God and the New Physics, whatever, a lot of other books there. Now, okay, can a scientist write a book of that kind? Yes. Okay, are these science? No. These are, just ideologies, their thinking, their, let's say, viewpoint, worldview, whatever. But the difference here is that if, let's say, a prominent scientist talks about non-science, people simply take it as part of science, which is a problem here. And part of the scientific truth, which is really nice, which is not the case. So, we come to, scientism as religion almost, okay? Keep in mind that science and scientism, they are not the same thing, which is a major problem there. So let me just go to the very end, the last slide here. First, a quote from Said Nursi saying that in the future, when the mind, knowledge, and sciences prevail for certainty, that will be the time the Quran will gain ascendancy because it relies on rational proofs and invites the intellect to confirm its pronouncements. Okay, there is no conflict between Quran and the sciences. Scientism, the physicalist worldview, keep in mind it is not science, it's an ideology or materialism, confirmed objective scientific truths and rightly interpreted religious truths, they cannot contradict. There can be no conflict between a true religion and true science. and the technology that serve to benefit humanity. And there should prevail a conciliatory tone among science, technology, and religion. I think they are all are for the good of the humanity, and they should really serve humanity, as implied by the ayah, Vasuhu higher. So in peace, there is good. So these things should coexist in peace and serve the humanity as they are intended to. So with that, I'll stop, and I thank you very much for the opportunity.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Prof. Yunus Chengel, for a very insightful presentation for us. And we still have two other presenters, ladies and gentlemen. And we would like also to welcome our honorable speakers, Prof. Etin Anwar. Welcome, Ibu. Thank you for joining us tonight. And we also would like to welcome all other audiences that have already joined and just joined this event. Okay, now we have the second presenter, Dr. Reza Idria from UIN Raniry, Aceh. And the short biography of Dr. Reza Idria. Dr. Reza Idria is an assistant professor at the State Islamic University Raniry, Banda, Aceh. And congratulations, doctor. He just obtained his doctoral degree in social anthropology from Harvard University. And currently he is a research fellow at Graduate School of Art and Sciences, GSAS, Harvard University. And he is also the co-founder of Komunitas Tikar Pandan. And in 2011, he served as the first executive director of Aceh Human Rights Museum, Museum HAM Aceh. Yeah. Okay, Pak Reza. Now the time is yours. Silakan, Pak Reza.
Great. Thank you. Can you hear me, Bu Desi?
Yes, very clear. Thank you.
Fine there. And thank you again for the generous introduction. Good evening, everyone. Assalamualaikum. First of all, I would like to extend my sincere gratitude to the ICONIST 2020 board member. It's truly an honor for me to be invited and be given the floor to present my thought with Professor Chengel and Professor Etin. Thank you very much, Bu Rector Amany and Professor Jajang Jahroni. And I also see many people joining the conference. I feel really flattered to be with you in this virtual room. Maybe it's still too early to talk about what left after the pandemic, since we still don't know when the effects of the coronavirus will last. So in this short presentation, I just wanted to show how religious communities in a certain place adapted and are able to adjust for a better goal. And of course, it took some time and need a process like many other things during the time of uncertainty. So let me begin my talk by showing you this short video. Hopefully it will work.
Saudara Ulun, ini adalah tradisi menjalatih atau pawai sambil membaca nazam isim ya latif. Tradisi turun-temurun ini digelar masyarakat desa I Tambar Huaila Aceh Barat untuk menolak wabah virus corona. Selain membaca nazam isim ya latif, warga juga menghentak-hentakkan tongkat bambu yang diisi kerikil dan dipasangi serat ijuk aren pada bagian atasnya. Suara yang dihasilkan dimaknai untuk menakuti setan atau wabah. Biasanya, saudara Ulun, tradisi ini rutin dilaksanakan pada bulan Safar yang diyakini warga banyak mendatangkan bala dan wabah penyakit. Salah satu penyakit yang cukup diingat warga adalah wabah taun yang menyerang ternak, terutama ayam, yang terjadi pada bulan Safar. Sebelum konflik bersenjata di Aceh, Mejalatih bahkan dilaksanakan pada malam hari dengan mengikut sertakan obor. Mejalatih dilakukan selama 15 hari sampai Rabu Abih bulan Safar. Pada sesi akhir Syederalun, semua tongkat bambu ini kemudian dikumpulkan dan dihanyutkan ke aliran sungai. Sementara satu di antaranya yang dipasangi kain putih diikatkan pada salah satu pohon di pinggir sungai. Dari Woyla Aceh Barat, Syederalun Mustafa Ali, Serambi On TV.
Okay, I think I don't need to explain in detail what's going on in that short video. I provide a short text below that, but I think many of you can get a sense of what's going on. And this is a kind of reaction that not exclusively happening in West Aceh, the place where the video was recorded, but in many places in this country and around the globe, of course. And we will see whether we can come back to that in a few moments. So, several philosophers and social scientists once predicted that religion would lose its social and cultural significance as society modernized. But many research has proven otherwise, that such prediction is false. As we have seen that people keep looking at religion to help them, especially during the so-called extraordinary time. And this current pandemic again proves that situation. People do things that they believe can protect them and their loved one. And however, for some people, rather than trying to understand why and how religious communities respond to major disruptions around them, we are likely to hear more about blames and accusations. There are some facts related to the COVID-19 and religious communities blamed to be the cause for increasing the spread of coronavirus. Even I saw or I read in a newspaper, in a national newspaper in Indonesia, that somebody wrote a major contribution of the religious community to contain the coronavirus is to do nothing and to say nothing. So the comment at the time was just obey science. So as a student of anthropology, as a student of social anthropology, I would say I have little to say about science. At least what people understood today as science, as the word science. I think we already heard a lot from Professor Chengel just now. But for me, when people start to acknowledge that the sole cause of this pandemic is us, human being, that is where the meeting point between what we understood or how do we see our life and the so-called science itself. And this will bring us to Aceh. So I think many of you know where Aceh is. Ibu Rector in her introduction also mentioned that Aceh is the westernmost part of Indonesia, and this is the map of Aceh, and this is how Banda Aceh, the city, the capital city of the province, looks like. So as anthropologists, I will talk more local, and this is the region and the community I'm most familiar with. And like many of you, I have limited my mobility and cannot do a lot of things. And for the purpose of this presentation, many sources I'm presenting in this talk came from digital sources. I think in the early days of the coronavirus outbreak, it was not easy for people, or any, even the so-called medical expert, or even for people who work for the WHO, to convince anyone how dangerous the virus is. We see fake news, conspiracy theories, as well as the attitude of those in authority, including we see people from the government in Indonesia who show denial, and they become actually causes of obstacles for medical experts to convince people that gathering even for worship can be dangerous. Whatever sophisticated language and evidence they offered. So this is the situation of COVID-19 in Aceh. Aceh reported its first death from COVID-19 on Monday, 23 March 2020. But then the situation seemed normal. Even on May 25th, the central government praised Aceh for its successful effort to contain coronavirus. But basically with very minimum test and trace. So no basis actually to say that. And soon after Ramadan and after Idul Fitri, Aceh saw record in coronavirus spike. And even at one point, the many data shows that Aceh had the highest rate of fatality because of the coronavirus. And it prompted the provincial government, to announce the possibility to lock down the province and also, to try really hard to convince people that the virus, cannot be undermined. But again, it is very difficult because lots of fake news, lots of conspiracy theories, lots of people, especially when it's come into religious worship, when the government try to regulate, try to say put a distance or have a social distance or have something like, wear face masks and stuff like that. And many people, they don't want to follow that because they think that if the activity is about worship, is about, creating your connection to God, and then God will save you for something you can even see that. But the situation changed dramatically when a highly respected ulama in Aceh tested positive for coronavirus and had to be treated intensively. At the beginning, even the identity and the situation and the condition of the ulama was kept secret. And there was a strong denial also from people around him, because this is also for us explain that many people perceive being exposed to coronavirus is a disgrace. And the ulama was hospitalized for more than a week, and miraculously, given his age, he was cured and being declared COVID-19 negative after more than, I think, 10 days in hospital. And then he became an authoritative sources for information about the reality of the pandemic threat, and he became active to preach for the Acehese people to comply with the COVID-19 protocol. And then even speaking about worship gathering, no handshake, and really strict to obey about social distancing. But as I mentioned before, the fact that the reality, it's still very difficult for the government to put down the curve, because the spike is ongoing, and for that the government need to set sanction for violator of the COVID-19 protocol. But they are very selective in choosing the form of sanctions that can, as I showed before in the introduction of Aceh, this is the only place in Indonesia that apply the full implementation of Sharia or Islamic law. So there is always a game in language, like a kind of language game, that everything has to be accommodated about the spirit of Sharia, and including when you have to set up any kind of sanction to contain the coronavirus. So you have seen that from maybe those who are in Indonesia, that part of the fines that the Aceh local government offered to those who violate the COVID-19 protocol, including to read the Quran. But of course, there was a lot of debate and among the Acehis themselves whether reading the Quran could be a fine, because for some people, of course, reading the Quran is a worship, and then you get a reward for that. So then you have two privileges. The first privilege, not to wear a mask. The second, you read the Quran and you get a reward from God. But that's what, and then at the end, the government tried to insist, and then there is a decree for that, several types of fines, including reading the Quran. And furthermore, we will see more about when we talk about sanction in Aceh, we cannot, avoid to talk about the implementation of Sharia in this province. But this is a very striking comments that I heard from one of the judges from Sharia court in Aceh, because so for him, Sharia law that we have here in Aceh could continue to ensure justice to victims of crimes when other law failed to do so during the pandemic. For what he meant by this, because in the early outbreak in Indonesia, we heard even from the Ministry of Law in Indonesia that there is an order to release some prisoners, because we are afraid that if they are still together in the prison, and then they can contract it one to another. But according to the judge in Aceh, crimes are ongoing. So, and then we have victims of crime, and they need, justice for that. And when, like the secular law, when we cannot bring people to the prison, then we have Sharia law. We can people, and then justice is being fulfilled to the victim of crime. That was the argument that I heard, and I think that is something to think for, right? And then we'll see how the Sharia punishment or the caning state or hukum cambuk has been adjusted in the time of Corona. This is also speak about the ongoing debate among the Acehis themselves, because the implementation of Sharia law has been some time in Aceh, because it was granted to Aceh in 2001, and then there are some change after the peace agreement between the Free Aceh movement and the national government. We have like a more comprehensive law for that, and in 2014, the province passed the so-called Islamic criminal law, and so they have so one of the kind of punishment type that offer in that law is caning. Punishment must be conducted before the public. But in 2018, there was a gubernatorial decree that provision the caning punishment should take place inside the prison, because a lot of critical comments from whether insiders in Aceh and also international audience to see that kind of punishment against human rights, etc., etc. So Irwandi Yusuf, the governor at the time, so passed the new law, and then in that law, the caning punishment should take place inside the prison. But that decree has been annulled because Irwandi himself was arrested by the KPK. So the reason for people to say that at the time that we cannot accept the law proposed by someone who are committing crimes like stealing money from the state, and then what we have seen today, as the judge mentioned before, but that from March to October 2020 there are around 169 judicial orders issued by Sharia courts from 23 districts in Aceh, and 133 of them sentenced other lawbreakers with public caning. So the public caning is still performed in Aceh today, but they change the way they conduct it. So this is how the caning punishment looks like before the pandemic, and this is the caning punishment during the pandemic. So you see the Sharia violators wearing masks, and also the guard, in the back, also wearing masks, and the algojo, the lasher, he or she should not wear, because she was already wearing something like a ninja, like cover, so he's safe from the droplets already. And then, so in like the photo on my right side, taken in Banda Aceh, so they change also the place. They don't need to have a stage anymore. They can do it's just in a very flat place, because it's only a few people from official who attended the punishment. So it is kind of adjustment that has been going on right now. And also we will see with the religious communities themselves, they also try to follow. This is something like unimaginable before, that to have the line, the line when you do a prayer, or in our language it calls saf is always meant to be tight, rapat. But during the pandemic, it has some distance. But it was difficult to think that people would follow that. But you see again, people try to adjust that, and then they could do it. Even there are some debate preceded that. And I think I just wanted to recap a little bit, just to I don't even need to read it, because I think Professor Chengel had more to say about this before. That there is a connection between religion and science, and they cannot be mixed, but they complement each other. I think we reach the same point in that way. And also during this pandemic time, I think more religious community are very keen to use digital and virtual thing, and also provide them innovative ways to interact each other. So, and even this came from my own family. We have a virtual tahlil, because sadly 3 of my family members also who live in different place. 2 of them are in Jakarta, and 1 in Banda Aceh, also contracted the coronavirus, and then died because of that. So we had our virtual tahlil, and I think this will last some time. I think we'll have this kind of family religious gathering even for more later on, even after the pandemic is over. So I think that's it from me. I look forward for more discussion from your question, or maybe remarks from my presentation. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you very much for your presentation, Pak Reza. And we still have 1 other presenters. We have Prof. Etin Anwar, Ph.D. Prof. Etin Anwar is a professor at Hobart and William Smith Colleges, Pulteney Street, Geneva, New York. And Prof. Etin has the Ph.D. education at the Philosophy Department, Philosophy, Interpretation, and Culture program, graduated from Binghamton University, New York. And Bu Etin has a long list of teaching interests, and also has published lots of books and edited books, and I cannot really read it one by one, because it's a very long list. And we are very lucky here, because Bu Etin can join us in this event, as Bu Etin will also present very insightful presentation also to all of us. And Bu Etin has about 30 minutes, Ibu, to present your presentation. And now time is yours, Bu Etin. Silakan, Bu.
Thank you very much. Good evening, good day, good afternoon. We are coming from different part of the world. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Honorable Dr. Professor Amany, Ibu Rector, how are you doing? It has been a long time, yeah. Professor Jajang, how are you doing? Thank you for the invitation. Ibu Desi, thank you. And I would like to also thank Professor Chengel for providing us with a layout of what science is. I'm not a scientist, I'm a philosopher, so I'm going to jump into this conversation and share my insight about where we are right now during COVID-19 and where we are moving forward, what kind of world we are going to enter into, what kind of jobs are going to be available, and where is the place of Indonesia in science, technology, and innovation. I would like also thank Dr. Reza for giving us some insights about Aceh, and congratulations. I just checked that you just received your PhD, and we are actually neighbor, right? You live in Massachusetts and I live in upstate New York. So I'm grateful to know that there is someone in Massachusetts to visit. I'm going to share my PowerPoint presentation. I give a title that is slightly different from other presenters, but I'm hoping that this presentation is going to invoke your anger because I'm going to ask the question, and I think to be honest, it's only Bu Amany will be able to answer and implement in the future. The kind of policies that are going to be implemented at UIN and many Islamic institutions, and we are hoping that all of us could contribute to the future of Indonesia. All right, my title is Where Are Muslims in Science Technology? Where are Muslim men, Muslim women in science and technology? We clearly learned about the meaning of technology from Dr. Chengel. We clearly learned the situation in Aceh, and we could also think about many places in the world with pandemic right now. At the same time, we can think about Muslim contribution to solve the current pandemic and how could we move forward in terms of jobs, education, and many other things. I'm going to look at, first of all, our history, the history of Muslims, Islamic civilization in regard to science and technology. It's not going to be a lot of them. I just want to recall few interesting perspective from the past, and try to connect it to reality in Indonesia and the place of Indonesia in the world right now. Where are we in science and technology? We are very proud of many Muslim scientists. In fact, our presenter, Dr. Chengel, also talk about medieval scientists. Yes, we are very proud of their achievement. I'll give you a few samples. We are also very proud of the fact about the finding of the vaccine because Muslims in the West have contributed to it. And we know that the Quran provides foundation for us. So I'm gonna just quickly talk about it, just to connect to the previous presenters and to go ahead with what I'm about to present to you all. All of us, scientists, thinkers, whomever we are fit into the category of the Quran as ulil albab. As long as we are trying to understand ayah, whether ayah in terms of the Quran, ayah in terms of nature, ayah in terms of human nature, ayah in terms of pandemic too, ayah in terms of coronavirus, because coronavirus invites us to become ulul albab, to become thinkers, to become health providers, to become policymakers. So I don't try to define ulul albab only for scientists or religious scholars, but anyone needs to look at pandemi as ayah and look for solution. We have a lot of thinkers that have contributed. I just give you some example. Khwarazmi give us perspective on math. He was the innovator on math. And as you know that the civilization is actually measured by the ability to use math. If in the past, mathematicians show us the direction, show us also the architecture, the art, and many other. And math helps us to look at the star. That's why math and astronomy relate to each other. Now, algorithm, for instance, now is very important in data science. So, and if you look at Western civilization, I come across to an exhibit on the impact of geometry on architecture and on science. It's very, very interesting. We have also other thinker. In this case, Al-Biruni. He is an encyclopedist, mathematician, geographer, and many other. Only now we are very specific. We know only one little thing. We got PhD. Long time ago, scholars know everything. We don't call them PhD. And even Sina, my favorite philosopher, he is a philosopher, a medical practitioner, and encyclopedist, and many other. A lot of time we stop with the medieval achievement. We are very proud of our history, but then we now with colonialism, with globalization, we are very behind in terms of science and technology. We also learned that in terms of the research right now, the West is reaching into the few stages, very close into finding the vaccine, and two Muslims have contributed into the vaccine innovation, vaccine finding. Dr. Sahin and Turechi, both of them are Turkish origin, and they were actually the pioneers in vaccine that would heal or would address the problem that we are facing right now, the pandemic or coronavirus. Dr. Sahin was awarded the Mustafa Prize from Iran in 2019. So we have model here. We have. I asked you the question, where are Muslims? Yes, we have a lot of them in the past during medieval era, almost 1,000 years ago. We have few right now, but we know that these scholars were trained in the West. In fact, Dr. Sahin migrated to Germany when he was 4, and Dr. Turechi was born in Germany and growing up in Germany. When I shared the link about these two scholars to my family, my first son said to me, again, Muslim in the West contributed to this finding, and the West is going to be benefiting from this finding. As you all know that, what does it mean for us when two pioneers found the vaccine? They sold their finding into the stock market, and people with money would buy the stock, and the West would benefit from it. So yes, they are Muslims, but they are also tied into the capitalist network of pharmaceutical companies and many other networking. So by the end of the day, according to my son, it has to do with the Western capitalism, and I make the argument that Dr. Sahin and Turechi contributed to humanity, because we are in the middle of pandemic. We are looking for solution, and both medical doctors medical doctors, both scientists have found the vaccine, and hopefully it's going to, cure people. It's going to heal many people actually all over the world right now. And I could only mention two of them, because when it comes to the vaccine right now, it has been developed in Western countries, in China. There are, if I'm not mistaken, there are about 200 experiment more on vaccine, but I'm not sure how many it is going to be, made by Muslims from Indonesia. And that it will take me into what's going on in Indonesia right now, and where we are in terms of science and technology. This is a real challenge to all of us. When I look at, for this presentation, the rank for Indonesia in innovation, to be honest, I have difficulties because the name of Indonesia doesn't come up in many reports. But I found where Indonesia is right now, and it has to become a motivation for all of us. Any policymakers, professors, rectors, we are in the crisis in terms of innovation and technology. We are users, but we are not innovators. According to this finding, Indonesia is a big country, large country, but Indonesia are users, are customers of apps created by companies from other countries. Indonesian Muslims are the biggest users of Facebook. Indonesian Muslims are the biggest users of many platforms, but we are still lagging in regard to innovation. According to Global Innovation Index, this is a new survey, 2019, just last year. We are ranked at 85. We can compare to Malaysia, Singapore, the Philippines. Singapore is number 8. So if we are, located in Southeast Asia, we are, belonging to the same geographical location. Singapore could be a model for us. Why Singapore managed to have a lot of innovations, and actually we are the users from apps created in Singapore. Malaysia in the world is number 34. The Philippines. We are ranked close enough to not even Darussalam, Cambodia 98. So we are at 85. And Indonesia, the Indonesia is also one of the emerging economy with younger generation. And this is the challenge and opportunity. We have opportunity to be part of these new challenges, creating innovation, creating technological devices that would be useful for our country and for Muslim all over the world, and humanity in general. As you all know, that innovation correlates to businesses. We are, as we are number 85, so we could see that our business expenditures are very small. We cannot even compare to big rich countries like United States, Japan, and China. We are actually, if you try to look for it, Indonesia is here very, very small. It is a challenge for all of us, how especially for the policymakers. How do we catch up? How do we improve ourselves, improve our innovation to the point where we could come with new technological advancement? And of course, to do that, we need human resources. To educate human resources, we need governmental funding, and it can be circular. But the point is that the less money we spend on education, the less money we are going to be able to innovate. The less money we spend on business, on the economy of Indonesia, the less likely we are going to have scientific advancement. If we are comparing to Asian countries in Asia, in ASEAN, you look for the color that represent Indonesia. As you know, that blue Malaysia, and Malaysia is almost one of the best in regard to this in innovation indicators. Indonesia is lagging almost in every aspect, in patent, in scientific inquiry, scientific article. We don't have a lot of people, scholars publishing in journals, and all of these are indicators that we are lagging, and we need to move forward. And it has to do with policies and has to do with quality education, as I would explain later on. I'm going to give you a more specific example. As I told you, it is difficult to find data, but this data would show us how could we move forward. And we are lagging, we are emerging, but it doesn't mean that Indonesia wouldn't lead. We just have to find a way as a country to solve this problem, because this is not a matter of citizens' problem, but this is a matter of policy problem in Indonesia. The research done by Coursera, some of you may have known Coursera, right? This is an online platform for learning. They just issued a report 2019. They categorize countries on the basis of technological and scientific achievement. Some are fitting into cutting edges. Some are fitting into competitiveness. Some are fitting into emerging countries, and others are fitting into lagging countries. And Indonesia is number 57 in terms of lagging. In terms of, it's basically we are very, very behind. Russia is Russia and many other countries, especially in Europe, are at their cutting edges. The US is competitive. The US isn't even reaching cutting edges, but companies in the US are very, very competitive. Let's say Amazon, Facebook, Google, Twitter. These are social media companies that are very, very competitive. But it is not cutting edge. So if we are looking for cutting edge technologies, we have to look at those countries. Our neighbor, the Philippines, is an emerging country. Malaysia is also an emerging country. And China, by this category, is still an emerging country. But Indonesia is very close to Bangladesh, to Pakistan, to Kenya, and Nigeria. So this is a homework for all of us. How do we move forward in terms of data science? And data science is the now and future discipline. In terms of technology, Indonesia is emerging. So that's good news. But at the same time, we are at number 31st in comparison to other countries. So we need to catch up. Saudi Arabia is doing better in this case. What does emerging mean? Opportunities are there. And I believe that Indonesians are learners and fast learners. We just had our independence 75 years ago. So, we couldn't compare in terms of timing to other places, especially to the colonial countries like the Netherlands, who got rich from us. In terms of business, as you all know, that business correlates to technology. The more innovation we have found, the more likely our business would be booming. Indonesia is still emerging, and some other countries are in terms of business are business with reaching cutting edge. I'm going to move on now into, so now we know where we are in terms of, let's say, these are just examples, data science, technology, and innovation. But what kind of future are we facing? We could call it post-pandemic, but we could also, now during the pandemic, I don't think these challenges that I'm going to show you is going to go away. These challenges are going to stay for longer than we want to, and it would be there now and after the pandemic, and some adjustments need to be done so that we could survive the post-pandemic era. As you all know, that many jobs were disappearing, with especially service job, they are disappearing during the pandemic. A lot of people are going to look for jobs once we have the vaccine and we are vaccinated. In Indonesia itself, we are below, our GDP is below than usual. We were predicted to have 5 point, but now we are below that. Even at some point it was below 5% of what we call pertumbuhan or development. First of all, this is from Harvard Research, and I think this is from Coursera, if I'm not mistaken. But I read the commentary on this problem. These are the jobs in the future, post-pandemic, or even now. These are the jobs that would require certain skills. Number one is manufacturing and technology. What does it mean? I will explain later on. A lot of companies are going to move forward with automation, and we need quality education to meet the market's demand. One of the biggest problems in Indonesia right now, there is the gap between education and the market. This is not a secret. We have gap in terms of what we teach our students and what the market demands. We don't really prepare students to work right away, and this gap needs to be addressed. So the challenge for Indonesians institutions right now is how to provide quality education. How do we train our students so that they are ready for the job? And as you could see, these are jobs in from 1 to 10 that would require business skill, technology skill, and data skill. These jobs correspond to what I've shown you earlier, where Indonesia right now in terms of business skill, tech skill, and data skill. The second problem or challenge for Indonesian education, from Indonesian science and scientific and technological advancement, is automation in various sectors. As you all know that Indonesia is the hub for outsourcing. A lot of jobs in factories are actually outsourced. It comes from the West, through China, through Taiwan, through Korea, and these companies employ usually unskilled laborers. They don't need graduate degree or even bachelor degree to operate machine, to do manual labors. And because of that, according to some prediction, it is according to McKinsey, very likely that 50% of the job in Indonesia would disappear, especially jobs in manufacturing and factories. So it is a challenge for us. How do we train our students? How our education is going to meet the demand of automation in many sectors? A lot of jobs would be done through telework, for instance, in the future. Even now, even for us now, we meet for this event online. I'm in New York, and Reza in Boston, or maybe Boston or somewhere else, and Professor Chengel in Reno. So this is a challenge for all of us. And again, the question for me and for you: where are Muslims? If we have to face this challenging situation. In fact, I have a slide that I deleted for this. I have deleted. From 2015 to 2065, we are going to increasingly face automation. We are going to employ machine. As you all know, machine doesn't smoke. They don't talk long. It's going to be very, very effective. they are not lazy. They don't need supervisors. So if in Indonesia we are replacing 50% of the job with machines, with robots, then how about our educational system? How about our market? The questions are and on and on. We are also challenged by the fact that in facing this COVID-19, we have to use a transdisciplinary approach to various issues. We can no longer look at technology as a scientific inquiry. We cannot look at science as scientific inquiry, because everything is interconnected. COVID calls us for many disciplines. We have to use sociology in terms of understanding people habit. I mean, we look at in Aceh, we need anthropology to understand people, comprehend the COVID-19. I really like the presentation by Dr. Reza when he showed us the video of how people in Aceh are trying to get rid of the virus by conducting the ceremony. We need anthropology for it. We need to have a new habit, a new work habit. Now that you work from home, and you all know that in the house, especially for women, there are so many things to do. It is always competing between webinar and cleaning the dish, cleaning the house. And how do husbands play a role in the household with the work habit from the house? The government has to issue health protocol, policies, SPBB, and many others. Social distancing, lockdown. All these policies have to be issued by the government. All health policies have to be given by the government. And how do we invent technology that would help the relationship between patient and the medical doctor, so that the medical doctors are not dying from treating the COVID patients? And how about new environment, new public space, the bus, and many other? There is a question whether or not the COVID-19 changes our climate change in this current time. So we also need to develop a transdisciplinary approach to various issues, whether it is now during the pandemic or after the pandemic. And this usage of a transdisciplinary approach would correlate to the educational system. To what extent our universities, our institutions are able to accommodate new approaches. I understand that in Indonesia, linearity is a principle. You are trying to approach a question from one discipline, and you are promoted on the basis of the mastery of one discipline. But the world calls us for a transdisciplinary approach. So how are we moving forward with this kind of challenges? Are universities ready? Are Muslims ready? And where are we? If we are ready, what can we do? We are also facing the job creation. I said earlier, 60% of Indonesians are relying on informal jobs. Now that many jobs disappear, especially in the service era, could we create, and let's say some jobs are going to disappear too due to the automation. And here it says, projection shows that in Indonesia, many jobs will be created, but at the same time, some jobs are going to be lost due to automation by 2030. If we are calculating, 2030 is only how many years from now? Right now is 2020, just only 10 years. In 10 years, are universities ready to provide students with the training that would create jobs that meet the jobs created due to the scientific and technological advancement? Otherwise, 50% of our jobs are going to be given to robots, and we are not able to create jobs. So these are some questions that we need answer. And honestly, I just like to provoke you to think, what kind of futures are we going to have in the post-COVID era? And these questions are for all of us. It's not just for teachers like myself, educators like myself. It is not just for administrators. It is not just for thinkers, scientists. It is for all of us. It is for all of us. Where are we? Where are Muslims? If you want to achieve greater exposures in terms of science and technology, we need to address all those challenges: quality education, closing the gap between the job or the training and the job market. We have to utilize a transdisciplinary approach. We have to also contribute to creating job. But as educators, of course, it has to do with policies, universities. The same is true with research, with RD, research and development. It has to do with policies in universities and also our industries. All of these are homework for all of us. The more we are responsive to the challenges created by the COVID-19 and to the challenge of scientific and technological explorations, the more likely we are going to succeed. But if we are failing ourselves to not be able to address our challenges, then unfortunately we are going to become the victim of pandemic, and we are not able to move forward economically and socially. So I would like to really provoke all of us to think very, very hard. What could we do differently about our future? There is also a new challenge for us, namely emerging technologies. Why do I say these are a challenge? Because these technologies are right now, of course, discovered in the West, and we have to compete with these new emerging technologies. The World Economic Forum just issued a report, November 2020. So this is a fresh report. How right now the technologies have achieved a few key findings. As you all know that with the testing for coronavirus, you have to draw the blood, and there is, and if you are, I don't know how many of you are very afraid of the needle going into your skin. I would be afraid, although I'm old. I don't know about you. Are you afraid with the needle going into your skin? There will be a new technology. It says micro needles for painless injection. So this is something new. And there will be, in terms of technology, we know we have to move forward from fossil fuel into sustainable energy. There will be airplane with the sun-powered chemistry. So this is amazing. I could go back to Indonesia without using fuel, because fuel is dangerous and also hurting our planet Earth. There will be more virtual patient consultation. It's called telemedicine. It has been going on right now, but it will be more in the future. Digital medicine, it's going on now, but it will be more efficient. And there are so many, I'm not going to mention one by one, but these findings are there. Are we going to just becoming users only? Are we going to compete with them? So that's also the question for me. Where are Muslims in these key emerging technologies? In conclusion, I'm going to go back to what I've started earlier. We are very proud of our past. Every time we talk about our achievement, oh yeah, science is in Islam. Even 1,000 years ago, our thinkers have already found math, geometry, astronomy, and others. Yes, that is the thing in the past, but we are asking ourselves now, where are we now? And I believe that we are, as Muslims in Indonesia and Muslims in the world, we need to step up our effort. We need to take more responsibility to the world for this science and technology. We can no longer say we are Muslims and we stop there. We have to become our role models. And that is the spirit from the Prophet Muhammad, the spirit from Islam. Everything in this world is ayah. Because it is ayah, it is for us to discover, it is for us to invent something new. And as an emerging country in technology and business, we are hopeful we can catch up, but we are still lagging in data science. So that's the challenge that we need to face in the future. Future meaning now and tomorrow, because by the time I stop talking, that's the future too for me. Indonesia needs to overcome the challenges of quality education, automation, the needs for transdisciplinary approach to science and technology, job creation, and new emerging technologies. And you know, as a philosopher, I can talk about this. I can provoke you to think about this. And as educator, I can challenge you to be part of this fight for better Indonesia, better world, better humanity. But by the end of the day, it is up to us to start, and we can start together as a members of humanity, human beings in the world. Thank you very much, and thank you for the opportunity to share with all of you a little bit of my thought and my contribution to tonight's conversation. Thank you.
Thank you, Ibu Prof. Etin Anwar. It is a very, very motivated presentation and also very interesting to see the bridge between and connection between the religion, science, and technology in our world. And all of three of our speakers have already presented their presentation. And although it is quite late at night here in Indonesia, we still invite some participants to ask questions to the speakers. Maybe we can start with the questions in the chat, because we have one question here from where is it? From Pak Dedi Darmadi from UIN Jakarta. His question is, in this time of pandemic, which one is more important and more high of stakes? Is it religion, science, or simply critical thinking? Nobody really knows when this will end and or how the world will look like post COVID-19. Should we invite more questions, or the presenters will answer the questions first? Maybe it's better to answer the first question first. Maybe we can start with from Bu Etin, ladies first.
Thank you very much, Kang Daddy. How are you? I saw his name there. All right. To be honest, I quite agree that the critical thinking is the most important answer to your question. But at the same time, in my opinion, the coronavirus pandemic requires all discipline. We need religion, we need science, we need technology, and this approach is called a transdisciplinary approach to our problem nowadays, because we are impacted in many ways. You know, as human being, our health could be impacted, our job could be impacted, our family, our neighbor, even our religion, Islam is impacted. Our definition of authority in Islam changes because now we can no longer go to the mosque to pray together. While long time ago, very likely, especially in Indonesia, going to the mosque is an indicator of being pious. But now, not going to the mosque is the indicator of piety. Going for Hajj is the indicator of being pious. Not going to Hajj is an obligation now. So what we consider wajib, obligatory, recommended, has changed. So in this case, in my opinion, all approaches are important. Any contribution is important. I don't think we need to prioritize, but at the same time, our critical thinking is very, very important. Is it okay to go out to let's say to go out to go? I'm going to just give you one example, and you can blame me for this sample. Is it okay to go out to the airport because your leader is coming? to Indonesia, for instance. Then people have no social distancing, people disregard all the health protocols and many others. What if your behavior becomes the source for super spreaders, meaning spreading coronavirus? So critical thinking is clearly very important at the practical level, at the personal level, but science, technology, and religion are important in addressing the coronavirus. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Etin, for your answer. And maybe next is Prof. Yunus. Would you like to answer the questions?
Yeah, I think Professor Anwar said it well. All of them are important. Religion, science, and critical thinking. They don't compete each other and they don't replace each other. All have their own places. But for example, all involve critical thinking. I cannot imagine science unless you question things and you critically think. And also, without critical thinking, I think in religion, you cannot really advance. You will just be buried in dogmas. So critical thinking is a human, I think, attribute which really reigns. Without critical thinking, probably we will not be, I think, full human beings there. And science and religion, which one is more important? Depends on which one you need more. I think you are already very religious and you lack in sciences. Obviously, you will need to put science, first. So this, whereas for Western countries, maybe they should, start putting religion first because they lack in that area. So whatever we need more, we should make it a priority. But for the Muslim world, it is obvious that in science and technology, we lack badly. Therefore, I think we should put a lot of resources in science and technology.
Yes. Thank you very much for your answer, Prof. Yunus. How about Pak Reza? Would you like to comment and give an answer?
Thank you for very interesting question, Dr. Dadi. If I could add one more, I think I would add common sense is better, or common good, maybe, or like the three sort of thing that you already mentioned in the question that could be, gathered together in that way. Because during the pandemic, I have seen very closely in Aceh that people are not, critical in thinking, or are not scientists, or are not really religious, but showing more, care and sharing, and also like put, a principle that saving life is more important than other, any kind of other principles. But for me, and the driving force for that is the common sense, it's common good, because he just wanted to do good. He's not, as pious as somebody who always go to mosque, not a scientist either, and never like, I don't know, because what kind of definition for us, like to define a critical thinking in that way. But I think common good and common sense would be the most important thing for us, to face extraordinary time. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. Very good answer from our speakers. And maybe I would like to invite some of the audience here that maybe want to present questions to the presenter. Maybe you can raise your hand or show, what is it? Unmute your speaker if you want to deliver your questions to the speakers. Any of the audience? Any questions from the audience here? Oh, okay. Yep. Maybe we can read again the questions from the group chat, because we have some questions here from Ikra Palechwala. As students, how do we prepare ourselves for the future when technology and machines will most definitely take over most of the jobs that are present today? Maybe this is also the questions for all of the three presenters. And we start again from Prof. Etin, can we, Ibu?
Thank you very much. I think to be honest, the best answer is it is my philosophy. You need to develop what we call long life learner attitude. Yeah. Why? Because the challenges are going to be different all the time. But if you love learning, very likely you are going to be able to overcome the challenges. The reason why I say that, because I'm sure that not all of you are in, let's say, the field of medicine or the field of technology or the field of science. Some of you may be learners like me, namely in philosophy, in Islamic studies, in sociology, and many others. That is why what is very, very important is the love for learning, or long life learner. Yeah, that's the most important in my opinion. Because with that in mind, if you let's say you are majoring in Islamic studies, Sharia or Suluddin or any other not scientific field, you could take a class in Han Academy on coding, for instance, or you could take a class on Coursera on coding. In my opinion, you may think you don't know how to do it, but if you insist on learning, you would be able to do it. Right now in Coursera, there are more than 30 million students from all over the world. Why? Because we know that technology, data science, and business are going to be the primary futures. And it doesn't mean that our training in religious studies is not useful. It is useful, but at the same time, gaining skills that are important for your future is very important. In fact, if I may say something about Indonesian education, we need to train our students to be able to learn life skills that would be useful beyond religious studies, beyond even when they do religious studies, Islamic studies. I'm sorry, I call all studies on Islamic studies, but I know you study a lot of things, in the field. But you need also to learn. In my colleges, for instance, I teach in Islamic studies, religious studies, but my students are obliged, even when they are majoring in religious studies, are obliged to learn math, to learn biology, to learn statistics, to learn scientific goal, to learn qualitative goal. Why? Because we know that when they graduate, the job is going to be any job that they are interested, and it is going to also teach them to be more fluid in terms of career. And I tell my students, they are going to be in the field for, let's say, 60 years. They're going to work 40 years, 30 years, and they need to have a lot of skills. And I encourage students in religious studies to take coding class, because students can take any courses. And that fluidity, especially now with Campus Merdeka philosophy, in my opinion, is possible in Indonesia. You may study religious studies, Islamic studies, but you take a class in medicine, you take the class in other department, in finance, for instance. I don't know if it is possible, but I think Campus Merdeka, in my opinion, requires students to be more fluid in taking courses, not just their majors and minors, but also other courses that are available in the same institutions. And I'm glad Professor Amany here. She will be the future of our hope, Professor. Thank you.
Thank you, Ibu, for your answers. And maybe Prof. Yunus can continue.
Yes, maybe I can add a couple of things. But when I look at the lists that automation will replace, AI, artificial intelligence will replace, and the safe jobs, one of the safest jobs is the category of a clergy. That is the religious people performing religious services. That is, AI will never replace them. So if, let's say, you are in the business of serving religious needs, okay, your job is very safe. Take them. Of course, how many of those people we need is a different question. Now, to give a general answer, let me just say that World Economic Forum a few years ago did a survey about the top 10 skills in 2020 for Industry 4.0. That is the new, Internet of Things, AI, whatever environment. And this is the 10 top skills. Let me just read them. The first one is critical thinking, okay, which is no surprise. And the second one is the artificial intelligence, the machines cannot do thinking, okay, independent, creative, innovative thinking. And they cannot imagine, they cannot, be creative. So people with these attributes are very important. And complex problem solving, okay, having a holistic approach, and also having background in different categories to be able to look at things, I think, all together as a whole. People management, coordinating with others, teamwork, emotional intelligence, judgment and decision making, service orientation, negotiation, and cognitive flexibility. So these are the 10 skills that the surveyed people by the World Economic Forum, they think will be most important in the future. Therefore, in the education system, we really should concentrate to equip people with such skills and generally categorized as 21st century skills.
Okay, thank you very much, Prof. Yunus. Pak Reza, any comment?
No, I just wanted to add, like, for the one who asked the question, just be optimistic. I mean, that question is really old question, actually. It's been raised by people since the Industrial Revolution somewhere in Europe in 14th century. But you see it until today that people are still working, people are still working. There are a lot of jobs that are, you will find, just be creative and just be, be faithful what you are looking for in your life. And I think that's my answer for that.
Okay, thank you very much for the speakers for the answers. And we actually still have one more questions here in the group chat, but I would like to invite again, maybe one of the audiences here that's still here want to ask questions to the presenters. Yeah, and maybe we can have one more questions, Bapak Ibu. We have the questions from Agus Jamil here. How come Indonesia is considered not innovative when Indonesian scientists and technologists managed to design and build our own aeroplane, ship, and road coding for many technology companies like Microsoft, Gojek, Wing, and many more? Maybe it's more on comments, Bu Etin and Pak Reza and Prof. Yunus. It's maybe want to share any critics or things that have already mentioned by the speakers. Okay, but Bu Etin, any comment about this?
I think he's responding to the previous question from somebody named Foday Yarbo. So he's not asking the presenter.
Oh, I see.
Somebody already mentioned that Indonesia is not that innovative technology. So I think he's responding to that. How come Indonesia is considered not innovative, if I'm not mistaken? But you can clarify that.
Okay. So yeah, so because there are lots of messages in the group chat, maybe I mistakenly read the questions here, but it's okay. I think we have come to the conclusion here that all of the three presenters here have already discussed about the connection between the religion, science, and technology, and also motivate us to be optimistic to face the future in spite of the pandemic that has not end yet now, but now we need to close the event because it's already late at night here in Jakarta. We would like to thank you very much for all of the three presenters that have joined us today, and also Bu Rector, thank you very much for being here until end of this event. And kurang lebihnya mohon maaf from me as the moderator, and I give back to the MC, Mr. Taufan. Yeah. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much for the very dynamic session, moderator. We have had around 2 productive hours in this international conference. Before we close our conference, we would like to invite Rector of UIN Jakarta to have a closing remark for this session. Prof. Amany.
Oh, closing remark.
Yes.
Surprise. Thank you. And I'd like to thank all of the speakers again. And we have heard about the relationship between all of the knowledge and different types of disciplines of knowledge. It's very important, and it's very Islamic, because Islam, there is no contradiction between ratio between science and also religion. So it's important from the presentation of Professor Yunus Chengel. And I'd like to also to thank Dr. Reza because he gave us some example of the people's tradition in Indonesia, and we would like to, of course, to improve the habits of the people to think more practical and also more rational, since religion also is rational. Okay, and from Professor Etin, before you came, I welcome you also, and I said that you're my friend, and I'm very happy to see you in this event. Thank you very much, and it's our duty to comprehend more about nowadays situation, about the pandemic, and about its impact, the horrible impact, I think, because all of the statistics that we saw, it showed that we are in dangerous, actually, if we not the right way to improve our educational system, to not improve our even consciousness, because most of the people didn't see that they're not conscious enough to see the problem of the time. Thank you very much. Thank you all the organizers, moderator, and of course, Dr. Jajang Jahroni. Keep healthy and be successful, inshallah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of this international conference on Tuesday, November 17, 2020. On behalf of the committee, we would like to express once again our gratitude to all of the participants who joining the conference. Thank you very much for your attention and participation. We do hope this pandemic will end very soon. Billahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'll see you again.
Thank you.
Do we need to take photograph before end the camera? Maybe the committee would like to take a screenshot from the screen.
Yes, please.
Please.
1, 2, 3. Okay.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Bu Rector. Thank you, Prof. Etin. Thank you, Prof. Yunus. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
See you again on the next occasion.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. For all of the audience, you may leave. Thank you, Prof. Yunus.
Thank you.
Saya mohon izin leave ya. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
Salam.